You're watching a new edition of World Insight. Thanks for joining us here. I'm James Chow, and as always, you've got 30 minutes of news and analysis, all of it from a Chinese perspective. Join us right after this for our first story. Well, this week was a special one over in South Africa. Millions of people went to the polls in the third post-apartheid election since 1994. In 15 years, what former leader Nelson Mandela once called the Rainbow Nation has now become the biggest economic powerhouse on the continent. It also has its fair share of problems: poverty, crime, and of course HIV/AIDS. The winner of this election will have to balance all those interests.
The African National Congress is confident of victory, as it has been for 15 years. Party leader Jacob Zuma is bound to be South Africa's third democratically elected president. He has a strong supporter in the 91-year-old former president, Nelson Mandela.
Let us remember our primary task. It is to eradicate poverty and ensure a better life for all. The ANC has the historical responsibility to lead our nation and help build a united, non-racial society. Working together, we can do more.
The ANC commands overwhelming loyalty from South Africa's black majority. It struggled long against apartheid and has improved the lives of the masses since coming to power in 1994. Zuma joined the ANC in 1959 and was arrested in 1963. He was imprisoned for 10 years on Robben Island alongside Nelson Mandela for conspiring to overthrow the white minority government. His campaign theme song is a legacy from his days as a foot soldier in the anti-apartheid struggle. He rose to prominence from a humble background, something the poor can identify with.
It's my personal opinion, but what I am saying is that, ANC has done so much for us. And me as an individual, I feel that it's a party. I'm not going to vote for a party that is claiming to be for all, where else you can see the leadership is all lily white. I'm black, I'm for the ANC, and Zuma is my man.
The Zuma era started early when President Thabo Mbeki was to resign last September. Mbeki was credited for the country's massive economic growth, but equally criticized for his misguided policies on HIV/AIDS and the high crime rate. ANC members, angry over Mbeki's ouster, formed their own party, the Congress of People, or COPE. COPE is the ANC's first black-led challenger.
In 1994, Mr. Mandela promised that he was going to give us water and electricity, and he gave us those things. And then they moved on and said, when President Thabo Mbeki was in office, he promised to give us money to transform our lives, and we know that he gave us the money. But the money did not arrive at us. It got lost between him and the ground.
Zuma's way to the African economic powerhouse was cleared earlier this month as his 8-year tussle with the courts was brought to an end. He had been charged with corruption, racketeering, tax evasion, money laundering, and fraud. But Zuma will take power at a difficult time. Millions of blacks still live in shanty towns. The country has one of the highest rates of violent crime in the world. And about 1,000 people die every day from AIDS-related illnesses.
After Zuma takes office, his first challenge is to ensure a united ruling party. Second is to keep the economic growth. Third is to carry out policies siding with the poor and working hard to solve the public security problems.
More problems are coming as South Africa heads towards its first recession in 17 years. Unemployment is around 30%.
南非呢，主要是以矿业为主。
The economy of South Africa depends much on the mining industry, which needs a lot of foreign investment. As the world economic growth slows down, the income from mining falls. South Africa has 500,000 miners. Over half of them have lost jobs. The gap between poor and rich has widened.
The consequences reach down to the very youngest.
Most of the parents are living under poverty, right, and they are unemployed. So with their food being rising almost every day, they cannot really cope.
In Johannesburg alone, the government child welfare agencies are dealing with at least 7 abandoned children a day, most of them newborn babies. Zuma promised to open the door of hope.
We have identified 5 priority areas for the next 5 years. Creation of decent work and sustainable livelihood, education, health, rural development, food security, and land reform. The fight against crime and corruption.
South Africa released its 2009 budget 2 months ago. Expansion may ease this year to its lowest rate in more than a decade. Analysts say the budget puts unprecedented emphasis on combating social issues like poverty and unemployment. Foreign investors and local businesses are worried Zuma may veer away from policies credited with delivering years of economic growth. Analysts say these worries are unnecessary.
这种担心呢是没有必要的。
South Africa will not be suddenly turning left. Jacob Zuma has said he will not change much on the economic policy. The ANC leaders understand they cannot spend more on the poor without economic growth. So growth is still the priority. The Zuma government will be concerned with the poor, but they will balance the interests between economic growth and social stability.
Alexander Township is just a few kilometers from central Johannesburg. It's plagued by a lack of infrastructure, overcrowding, and rampant crime. Now, with Jacob Zuma poised to become president, residents are beginning to hope.
My 3 points, first one, expect service deliveries. Second one, expect job creation. And the third one, expect our government once eliminate crime or reduce crime, our justice system will be stronger than before.
Jacob Zuma is currently riding on the crest of a wave of goodwill, but he will have his work cut out for him. South Africans are still waiting for those 15-year-old ANC promises to come true.
Well, let's stay with this story. Analysts say South Africa's decision to do more to fight poverty is a good decision. In recent years, the continent has seen growing instability in Kenya and also in Madagascar. South Africa can set an example to other African countries. Up next, the Chinese Navy turns 60. We'll be there for the celebrations.